Love and Death. Poem by Sarojini Naidu. Sarojini Naidu, the Nightingale of India, or Bharat Kokila, was a liberal thinker, a literary artist, a social reformer, and a political fighter. She occupies a unique position in Indo-Anglian poetry as a melodious lyricist endowed with a natural poetic sensibility and a humanitarian touch. Sarojini Naidu's life is inseparable from her poetry. It is the different facets of her own life that is spontaneously expressed in her lyrics. Her father, Aghornath Chattopadhyaya, was an illustrious scientist who founded the Nizam College in Hyderabad, where he served as its first principal and also as a patron. Her mother, Varada Sundari, was a devout Hindu who was well versed in Bengali, Telugu, Hindustani, and English. She has also composed some lyrics in Bengali. Sarojini Naidu received her early education in Hyderabad, matriculated from Madras University, and pursued her higher studies at King's College, London, and Girton College, Cambridge. The Congress session of 1922, held in Kanpur, elected Sarojini Naidu as its president, bestowing upon her a rare honor. After independence, she became the first governor of the United Provinces, thus becoming the first woman to hold the office of a governor of India. Even before Sarojini Naidu left for England for her studies at the age of 16, she had written several poems, including the poem Lady of the Lake, which consisted of 1,300 lines, and a poetic drama of 2,000 lines. The Golden Threshold, her first volume of poems, was dedicated to Edmund Gosse, who called her the most accomplished living poet of India and also introduced her to the Western world. Arthur Symons prefaced this collection with a brilliant introduction that clearly revealed his appreciation for her poetic temperament and wisdom. Sarojini Naidu's second volume of poems, The Bird of Time, came out in the year 1912, and the third volume, The Broken Wing, was published 5 years later in 1917. Sarojini Naidu's poetic output consists of 184 poems on a wide range of themes. According to Kalimnikova, Sarojini Naidu's songs organically connected with the Indian songs of folklore are at the same time a gift of ancient literary tradition. Yet, she could bring variety and uniqueness into her compositions by composing poems which dealt with themes as diverse as nature, love, philosophy, and patriotism, in addition to a large miscellaneous collection that does not fit into any of these thematic categories. Sarojini Naidu was a woman of versatile genius. The features of her poetry include a graphic revelation of the typical Indian ethos, variety of poetic themes, an inborn romanticism, picturesque and sensuous descriptions of the multitudinous aspects of Indian life, lyricism, mysticism, and craftsmanship. She was not interested in wild experimentation or explosive modernity. Her poems had a refreshing simplicity and directness that assure her a permanent place in the world of genuine poetic talent. Sarojini Naidu's poetry is often considered old-fashioned, as they rarely revealed any reflective power or intellectual vigor. There is a general lack of philosophical profundity even in the poems on the themes of love, life, or death. Her treatment of nature does not go deeper than the superficial sights and sounds. They fail to stir our emotions even when she impresses us with her metrical dexterity and radiant diction. Her poems abound in the recurrence of fairy fancies and raptures, emotions and mysticism, and a multitudinous panorama of Indian life, reminiscent of India's romantic past. The introduction to the collection, The Bird of the Time, by Edmund Gosse, describes Sarojini Naidu's poetic genius in glowing terms, even as he traces the evolution of the poet from a man-made imitator of English classics to a genuine Indian poet, lighting up the dark places of the East like a scholar or a historian. The poem Love and Death belongs to the collection The Bird of the Time, published in 1912. The collection is dedicated to her parents. The title The Bird of the Time is derived from Omar Khayyam's lines, "The bird of time but a little way, to fly, and lo, the bird is on the wing." Sarojini Naidu's poetic art shows a clear advancement from the gaiety and spontaneity of the earlier compositions to a more mature temperament and disposition. The collection, The Bird of the Time, has 46 short poems written on the theme of love and death. The sonnet Love and Death is written in the form of a Petrarchan sonnet with the rhyme scheme ABBA, ABBA, CCD, EED. Sarojini Naidu's love poems are known for their tenderness and delicacy. She has composed 184 lyrics, out of which 66 are poems of love. According to Dr. K.R.S. Iyengar, the vicissitudes of the poet's pilgrimage of love petrify us into awed attention. The glow, ecstasy, the recoil, the resentment, the despair, the reaction, the abasement, the acceptance, all are here. Sarojini Naidu's conception of love is romantic in tone and spirit. They view the emotion of love from a woman's perspective and are mostly autobiographical in tone. They resonate Sarojini Naidu's unflinching love for her husband, Dr. Govindarajalu Naidu. The analysis of the poem Love and Death. I dreamed my love had set thy spirit free, enfranchised thee from fate's overmastering power, and girt thy being with the scatheless dower of rich and joyous immortality. The poem opens with the dream of the poetess. In the dream, she has a vision of immortality which love can bestow on her beloved. The dream gave her hope, and she believed that the might of her love could set her lover free from fate's overmastering power and guard him from all dangers with the shield of rich and joyous immortality. Of love I dreamed, my soul had ransomed thee. In thy lone, dread, incalculable hour, from those pale hands at which all mortals cover, and conquered death by love like Savitri. In her dream, she thought that the purity of her soul would redeem her lover from the cold hands of unpredictable death, like Savitri from Hindu mythology. Savitri had followed Yama, the god of death, and compelled him to restore her husband Satyavan back to life by her devotion and strong will. When I awoke, alas, my love was vain, even to annul one throe of destined pain, or by one heartbeat to prolong thy breath. O love, alas, that love could not assuage the burden of thy human heritage, or save thee from the swift decrees of death. When the poetess woke up, she realized to her dismay that it was all a dream, nothing but a fleeting, evanescent dream. All her hopes of sustaining her lover's life or even mitigating his agony shatter as the realization dawns upon her that no power on earth, not even the power of her love, can extend the destined moment of death even by a single heartbeat. Sarojini Naidu accepts that her love is powerless against the inevitable burden of human heritage. The poem concludes with the poet's reconciliation to the invariable truth that no man can escape the irrevocable decree of death. The sonnet Love and Death has all the typical features of a Petrarchan sonnet. The sonnet introduces the desire for immortality for her beloved in the octave. The octave is followed by the sestet, which begins with the volta. Volta is a sudden change in tone with a change in the rhyme scheme. The poem illustrates the evolution of Sarojini Naidu's poetic art from the young amateurish fantasy of love to one that is tempered by a philosophical acceptance of death as an essential aspect of life. Thank you.